It was a silent night, and the dim light from the street lamps illuminated the street. Beatrice, a quiet and reserved woman, had recently been living alone in the small apartment on the second floor. Her life was peaceful and uneventful, until that night. Beatrice had noticed the strange behavior of her downstairs neighbor, Marcelo. She would always see him leaving late at night, looking around, as if he were hiding something. In the last few days, she had noticed that a different woman had been coming and going from his house. She knew that Marcelo was married and knew his wife, Lucia, a sweet woman who always brought him homemade cakes and sweets. Beatrice began to suspect that Marcelo was cheating on Lucia, and the doubt consumed her. One afternoon, when she passed Lucia at the entrance to the building, Beatrice could not resist and let out a discreet comment, trying to open her friend's eyes. "Lucia, are you okay? I can feel you so tired. I hope everything is okay at home." Lucia seemed confused, but thanked him for his concern and said goodbye, apparently without suspecting anything. Hours later, when Beatrice was already home, she heard loud and rapid knocks on the door. When she opened it, she saw Marcelo with a distraught face. He spoke bluntly, in a low and threatening tone. "I know you've been talking about me. Be careful, Beatrice. Don't interfere in my life." Beatrice was paralyzed with fear. Marcelo's gaze was cold and full of anger. He continued, "The last thing you want is to have problems with me. If you hear anything in the building, pretend you didn't see it and don't know anything." Frightened, Beatrice stepped back and closed the door, feeling her heart pounding. That threat echoed in her mind. She knew that Marcelo was unstable and feared what he might do. In the following days, she began to avoid any contact with him at all costs, keeping the curtains closed and leaving the house only when strictly necessary. Marcelo continued to look at her strangely whenever they passed each other in the hallway, but Beatrice decided not to let herself be intimidated. After a few weeks, she decided that she could no longer live in fear and discreetly told the story to another trusted neighbor who offered to help her. In the end, Beatrice managed to report Marcelo and, shortly after, he moved out of the building, disappearing without a trace. Lucia, who soon discovered his betrayal, also left, in search of a new beginning.